Well, we're excited anyhow because we've reached 15 years with Buzz. 15 years ago, one of the things that I recognized in Chautauqua Lake area where I'm from, and I own a restaurant there, and I was we did a lot of outside music at our restaurant. But one of the things during that particular time, 15 years ago, that intrigued me was everybody was looking for ways to change society a little bit. There was just there seemed to be a little bit of a turmoil. And what was interesting to me was I always felt that the best way to change a society was to reach out to them from the ground roots, the grassroots perspective. And so music and arts, I felt, was really a natural, because no matter where you stood politically or nationality-wise or anything else, there was one common bond, and it was music and entertainment and food, and all those type of things were just like a common bond for people. So the problem was, of course, is that not everybody gets the exposure to the arts. Some can't afford it. Some think it's kind of kooky and corny, and how cool could be playing a violin or a cellist be? And what I wanted to do at that point was I wanted to bring that out to everybody, the masses, for everybody to see for themselves just how cool that would be. And the way to do that was to get these types of artists to perform that type of music, but only doing it in a pop fashion, so that people would be familiar with those kind of songs. And so, at the last minute one summer, I only had about 7 weeks, which was unheard of, I came up with the idea to put a pop symphony orchestra on the roof of my building. And coming from a very, very small, provincial thinking little community, that was about as taboo as you could get. They had this fear that all these people were going to come from all over the world, and the town was going to be just mobbed, and people in cheese hats were going to be jumping off of bridges. It was crazy. And so, but anyhow, I went ahead and I did it, and I contacted a couple of people who were friends of mine at the time, and I knew nothing. I mean, I'm a meatball roller, basically, by profession. And so we put it together, and we found some great musicians, because the Chautauqua region obviously just has an enormous base of extremely talented people. One of them happened to be John Marcellus from the Eastern School of Music. The other one was a local guy who was just a world-class musician in his own right, Steve Swanson. And then we found Bruce Morton Wright, who was a conductor up in Erie, Pennsylvania. Well, when I put all those people together in a room and told them what I wanted to do, of course they thought I was nuts. And but the point, I guess I'll just get to the end of the story so it's not too long, is that the end result was that we pulled it off and did it, and it turned out to be an evening in Camelot. I went out and I found some sponsors that believed in me, that were willing to give us some money. I think the first concert cost us about $15,000. And and they thought I was crazy, didn't understand why they would be giving me money to just fill my restaurant up. And they got to see the bigger picture. What happened was, people came out. They stopped hanging out at their house or in their backyards. They came out into the community and they started to socialize. And when they did, they were there amongst all their friends. Then there was a lot of people that never had the opportunity to see a pop symphony orchestra. So they actually nicknamed that first event as A Night in Camelot. It had that feel. The sun was setting. We're on this amazingly picturesque lake. And the beauty was, 90% of the people could not see the orchestra because it was up on the roof of the building. The only ones that could see it were the boaters who were out there moored offshore, and there was probably about a couple of hundred boaters. And ironically, they didn't care, because it was the serenity of the music and the feel-good amongst each other, the camaraderie of community. So I was really proud of it. It was a great event, and so we did it. The next year we did it. It doubled in size. So we had almost 5,000 people show up. And then what happened was, the economic side of it started to set in after the first event. Now, we're doing only one of these a year, if you can imagine this. And what took place was that all these people all said, well, over Labor Day, we're staying home. We're not going to go somewhere else and celebrate the holiday. We're going to invite all our friends to come to our house, and then we're going to take them all down to this great free concert. And that's exactly what took place. But the next thing I know, we had 600 folks out there rafted off. We had 5,000 people attending the event, and the weekend became an enormous economic boom to our region.